Right, guys. So thank you so much for joining me here today. I have extremely special and talented Miss Monica Manthan. She is here today to talk to us about the impact of pandemic on the students and offline education. So, hi, Miss Monica. How are you?
Hi Adya, I'm good. What about you? How are you doing?
I- So, how's your life? How's your personal life? How's the lockdown going?
Yeah, cool. If you see it in a positive way, everything is good. If you're in a negative way, everything is bad. It's all the perspective actually.
Absolutely, you're totally right. So, Miss Monica, like the viewers will keep joining us. So, before
Yeah,
moving
sure.
ahead, could you introduce yourself to our viewers?
I'm Monica and I am actually totally into education line. In the past, I worked with HSBC Bank and all. And as of now, I own a coaching center and I'm working with British Council as well. And now from like some time when the pandemic has commenced, I've like started making my own videos and I'm available on Mona YOLO _17, the very same ID I'm like doing this, meeting on. So you guys can always follow me and any queries you have on education and all, you can always connect with me on those grounds. So yeah, that's short and crisp about me. So Adya, what do you have to say?
Absolutely. So, guys, I have studied from Miss Monica for 2 years, and she's an extremely great teacher. The way she teaches us, and the way she's so much frank with the students, it's like so good. So, hi guys.
Thank you
Talking
so
about
much.
myself. I'm a host. My name is Adha and I am currently a student of journalism from Jain University, Bangalore. So let's start with the interview. So Miss Monica, before like my first question to you is like the pandemic, the lockdown for the pandemic was announced on 22nd of March, and from the 14th of March, all the education institutions were ordered to be shut down. So what do you
Yeah.
think? Like, what is the impact of this pandemic on the students?
What is the main part on like how it is affecting the students, you mean?
Exactly.
Actually, see, the pandemic is actually what it is taking off is the student life. Main, you will not live this life again. Everybody's gone into self-isolation and it has disturbed not only the elders and all sections of the society, it has disturbed the younger generation like you, like your peers, all of you have anxiety issues at this age. So it's not a very good sign actually. But still, as I say, I always look it to the positive end. Look for things which keep your soul satisfied. Go for courses. Keep yourself busy in something or the other. That is going to, take you out from everything. See, institution, colleges, they would not do a pretty good job because 60 people sitting together, nobody is going to communicate. Nobody is going to reach you as much as you do your own learning, you do your own self-development. All development as of now till the pandemic is there, it's on you. Main thing is that. So this is the thing. And what the universe wants as of now when the pandemic has come over, it is like being in isolation, get isolated, look for what you are good in. See where you are, where your heart lies. Go and pursue those skills. And you know what, as in the education sector, see, Mr. Narendra Modi, he's also implemented this NEP, new education policy. As in, you have to take up some skills which you like. They are not putting constraints on any specific thing, do this or do that. You are free to do whatever, whichever subjects, whichever combo of subjects you want, whatever vocational skills you want. So they are, they are relaxing in those issues as well. So to students, my, request would be search yourself, what you are good at, search for skills because at the end we are studying, we are working, whatever education you're doing, we are going there just because we have to do something in life. There is some aim, we have to, earn. So why not earn through something you love and something doesn't make you tired? Fine. So that's what I have to say. So it has affected them badly. They are into self-isolation. They are They have to, chaos, they are handling a lot of chaos that's happening here. hustle and bustle of the houses and everything, parents, and you know, they have to stay at one place and they can't go out. If you go out, then people in your family are like, don't go, this happens, this will affect me. So the mental state and everything is not good. But you know, keep yourself involved in good channels, go for meditation, do something which, you know, calm downs your mind and satisfies your soul at the along with it. So that's what I have for students. So let's start with the discussion, because if I start, it's going to be it's going to carry on and on.
Whatever you said, like, I absolutely love that. We should discover what we love, and instead of just taking this lockdown in a negative manner, we should focus on improving our skills so that it would benefit us not in just a short run but in the long run as well. And definitely whatever happens for some good reason. So moving ahead, my second question is, so Miss Monica, like, all the schools and colleges on 14th of March were ordered to be shut down, like, abruptly, right? We didn't have any idea that on 13th of March we went for our colleges, we went for our schools, and everything abruptly was ordered to be shut down from 14th of March. So how do you think this abrupt shutdown, like, you know, impacted or affected the studies of people or impacted the academics of students?
See, as everybody knows, all the schools, they're shut down, colleges are shut down. You people are back from your study centers to your home locations. So all this is happening actually. So, but what it is mainly affected is, as you people were in groups, there are certain education courses which specifically require groups, like photography, or wherein, you know, you can't, without group learning, you can't go. So those are specifically affected. And self-study alone, self-isolated study, online study, it would, you know, it would not go for a very long time. It can't be, you can't study alone for a very long time. You really require, you know, viewpoints of one another. You need to, interaction is very important. Ideology changing, exchange of idea, this is pretty important in education. So this is this has been affected. And you guys are back. Half of the time, it is like everybody is either you are like into these online classes that are going on, either you're taking those, and that too, half of the people, half of the students, they are just sleeping. They just switch off the cameras, they switch off their cameras and they switch off their silent, and those people are sleeping. The teacher thinks they are online, the status shows online and they are sleeping. So it is not a very, you know, I would say this was not a very constructive way that's happening until and unless the student takes onus to hear to the teacher. For 15 minutes you are concentrated, 20 minutes you are concentrated. After that, you are like lost. Okay, if the teacher is very interactive session and, you know, involved, and also you feel, okay, fine, we are involved, you know, one-on-one things are going on, she's asking, putting up questions, then you people are involved. Or else, if half the class is sleeping and everybody is there just for the attendance. So this is what is happening mainly. And I'm like pretty like the education sector is not doing pretty well. The students are not learning and everything is not happening that good what you get on a one-on-one learning. So
Absolutely.
that has been affected badly actually.
Absolutely, Miss Monica. That's like very well said. So before moving ahead, we have a question from Sid. Do you think it's okay to not be productive while schools and colleges are closed? So like, what is your take on this?
Not be productive while schools and colleges are closed.
But
why don't you want?
Schools are.
You have to.
Colleges are.
You have to be productive. Now find ways how you have to be productive. What all things you can do. Open up. Nowadays, everybody's opening up channels. Everybody's showing their skills. Everybody, like people like you, Adya, they've got into, as you are into this PR and mass comm, you've started up all these, interrogation, these sessions, one-on-one sessions with people who are, experienced and all. So whatever sector you are, go into that sector, search for online opportunities, search for things which you are good at. Tap your skills, do something, don't be unproductive. Because see, your mind needs to keep moving. Your mind has to be busy somewhere, or else it will do unnecessary things. Your mind has to be, some constructive work has to be done. don't do anything. Go and watch Netflix. Watch interesting series. Watch series which will help you in your, any development, any form of development, any form of knowledge gaining. You have to gain knowledge. You don't have to sit idle. Do something, anything, learn something, take up new courses, take up international courses. Nowadays, these guys are offering so many international online courses. They are giving at such huge scholarships they are giving. Go online and search. And whatever, and one thing is very productivity. You have to keep your mind active. If your mind is not active, you're going to destroy the entire family and disturb the entire family. So you have to keep working. Your mind has to be busy somewhere. Don't make it dull in this pandemic. This pandemic doesn't call for, sitting idle. Do something, anything. But you have to be the entire day, keep yourself moving. Do something, help your mother, do anything, yeah. Just you have to be productive. If you don't be productive, you are hampering yourself. That is the short and crisp thing I'll come to. Nothing more I'll say. If you're not willing to study, open channels, dance, whatever you like, whatever your soul says, wherever you're happy, whatever, if you want to go for a long drive, that is also fine unless and until you're not meeting people. But do something, enjoy, satisfy your soul, because, the vibes which we get sitting inside those four walls, they, affect us badly. So you have to be, keep moving until your body is moving, until everything is moving, your mind will not work. So you have to be productive. I would not say much more than that. I'll have a session again with Adya on these spiritual things. I'm too much into yoga and meditation. So, yeah, Adya. Sid, are you guys, I hope that's fine with you?
Yeah, that's completely fine. Like, whatever you said completely makes sense. Because, it said, right, empty mind is the house of the wicked, empty mind is the house of the evil. So, we have to constantly work and, we have to keep ourselves busy. Otherwise, overthinking and negative thoughts just make its way and make your life really dull and boring. And you yourself don't know, whatever you're doing, why you're doing. So, it's really good to be productive. No matter whatever you are doing, just do anything.
Yeah, exactly. Help your dad, learn some skills from the elders, do gardening. There's so many things, yeah. You can learn any damn thing. People are doing hell lot of things at their places. Making TikTok videos and I don't know what. Everything. People are doing anything and everything. So please.
Absolutely, that's rightly said. So moving forward to my next question, Ms. Monica, as you know, online classes are not as effective as offline classes. And as you rightly said, right, people just switch off they just join the classes, they switch off the camera, switch off their, voice and they go back to sleep. Not effective, helping them being productive or in learning something. So how do you think, what could be the major difference between online classes and offline classes?
See, offline, it's like one-on-one, Adya. It's like one-on-one. Adya, you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Okay. So, it is like one-on-one, offline classes are one-on-one. The teacher knows what sort of problem a student is going through, how to, communicate that. On the camera, it's like whenever I'm also teaching, I have 4 students, 10 students on the camera. I fail to make out what sort of problems and which side that person is looking to. I feel they're not interested, but they may be interested in my session very much. So that's a lot of difference. And you can, in depth, when you are online, when you are offline, you can in depth ask questions. You can take sessions differently. You can go depth. On depth, you can ask things. But offline, how much? Online, how much you can do? 10 minutes you will ask, 15 minutes you will ask. It's not giving you a personal touch at all. So, online classes, they hardly give you a personal touch. And after, one day you are fine with online classes, 2 days you are fine. After 40 minutes, after 10 days, you are frustrated. Okay, this is a headache now. Online, I have to just get rid of this. I'm just here for attendance. I've just to run away after this session, these classes are done. So, online classes are not doing pretty good, though people can learn if they are and online classes, they take your mind, they take your everything, your mind has to be concentrated the entire time on the screen, ears, everything has to be together they have to, be together. You have to hear everything. You have to, memorize. Then you have to interpret everything. So all sensory organs are working together at one time. Though offline classes, it's like you are not on the screen, not using any electronic media. So things are pretty different in that end. So you are more relaxed. Your body is not working more in that. So that it doesn't take toll on you. Though online, it takes. Online, if you are, if you are not only education, if you're chatting also, if you're doing video calls also, 4 days you will be do video calls with your friends. 5 days you'll do. After 1 day you'll say, okay, now I need rest. Because on these electronic media, it's like, drawing so much of your energy, and it is sending all the electromagnetic waves towards you. So you have to restrict it to a limit. And the government now, it's like restricted your online classes to 5 hours. Because if you take too much of this electronic media, too much of rays and all, it is causing health diseases like cancer and, you're having cancer and other obesity and all you're having. So whosoever is watching, please. Sorry? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, Adya, tell me. So whosoever is watching,
hello.
please. Yeah. Hello?
Miss Monica, you're not audible.
Adya, hello.
Your voice
Am I audible?
is very low.
My voice is low.
Hello?
Hello, Adya? Yeah, there? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, ask from the audience, am I audible? Adya, I can hear you. Why can't you hear me?
Me, I was not able to hear you. Now I can hear you well.
Okay, fine. So that was what I said. Did you hear about those 5 hours thing I said?
Exactly, I heard about that.
Yeah, so whosoever is watching, please keep your, screen time to 5 hours. Do not go more than that. Try not getting more than that, because nowadays, the entire day we are on the phones. That is the thing.
Absolutely, Miss Monica. Like, that's also rightly said that we should absolutely limit our screen time to like 5 or 6 hours, because it not only affects our health, it affects our eyesight. We usually get headaches, our eyes get dry, obesity is increasing in people and students due to constantly sitting in front of the screen. So moving forward to my next question, Miss Monica, as you know that remote learning is making its way in the form of online classes or like television learning, and like still India is a country where the masses are poor, right? The
Yeah.
poverty is widespread. There are people who are not able to afford the technology or the internet which is required for having online classes. And that is the reason why many of the students are going to depression. There are many students who are committing suicide. Like just quoting one example, the first case of suicide which happened in India was on 2nd of June, when an educationally gifted 15-year-old girl, like 15-year-old girl who was in class 10th, committed suicide because she was not able to attend classes and watch her television lessons because her television set was not working. And her father was a day laborer, which means he was not earning anything for 2 months. They were extremely poor. And she thought that her academic performance would be greatly affected, and she committed suicide because of that.
Yeah.
It's not just one incident, like there are many incidents where students whose families are not well off, whose families are not rich, or not, I would say from a medium background, they're not able to afford mobile phones or online learning mediums, and they are committing suicide or going to depression. So like, what are your views on the same?
See, this would be there now. Actually, time has come. India has to change. What I'll tell you, India needs to learn from those countries where such pandemics are happening. Not a pandemic, but an epidemic sort of, like African countries where Ebola virus and all these things are very regular. Such things are happening regularly. So these countries are making arrangements for education, and they are putting everything in place. They are putting all the systems in place. So now what India has to do, though by online education, they are tapping the urban students. All the urban students, they are getting all the facilities, but there is a digital divide between the rich and the poor. Fine. The rich are able to afford everything. They are able to access all the technologies and all. But the poor, they are still not those, like they have still, the education sector is unable to tap the poor. It's unable to reach the rural areas. So time has come when this has to take a turnaround. Right now, Narendra Modi, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi also said, they're starting up with these optical fiber internet connections in rural areas in some months. But as of now, actually, I have been reading, like there is one institution in Bangalore which, named Support Our Students. What they are doing is they are working for such students who do not have access to computers, laptops and all. What people do, what this organization does, it takes laptops and these computers and tablets from people. It's a Bangalore-based organization, and it is taking all these electronic gadgets like laptops, tablets, and desktops from people who've not been using them. They refurbish this, and then they give out to underprivileged people. This I'll be sending you the link. Whosoever wants to see the chat can mention this, and in case you have people or who you have the lower sector underprivileged people around and all, if you want them to access such thing, they are on Instagram also. So they are giving away laptops and all this at free of cost to the underprivileged. Moreover, the government is also now working on it. Like Tamil Nadu, the government they've given some 1.15 crore contract to Lenovo on this. So the government is doing its part. We, as of now, it is like the student has to find out options, what can be done. They can, a minimum smartphone, the minimum smartphone they can afford, they have to go for it. And they have to, look for hotspot, and the government should also open up hotspot near some, areas wherein, they can, such students can go and access their homeworks or whatever modules are available. So that's what I have to say. Nothing more I can say, because our part or the students' part is nothing here. It's all the government and all the technology that has to, come up. Technology has to change. It has to reach those areas. So, like none of the students or none of the teachers or any other, sectors can do anything. It is only the government which can do. And the government is doing pretty good on their part here.
Absolutely, Ms. Monica. So, obviously, government is doing the best it could to provide education through televisions, through radio, and providing, as you said, the organization which is providing refurbished gadgets to students for free, so that they could access the online classes and they could, they should not miss out on their studies or on their academics. So that these all are the really great initiatives, and we hope this to speed up in future and have a positive impact on the students of the country. So moving forward to my next question, as you know, right, there are students of even kindergarten who are having their online classes for let's say 4 hours or 5 hours. So this is not impacting those students as such, because they are into kindergarten, right? They are still kids, like 4 years, 5 years of age. But it's putting up a lot of pressure on the parents of those kids who have to take care of everything, right from ensuring that their student attends the online classes. He sits continuously in front of the screen. He does all his homework and everything. So what are your views on the thing?
Yeah, of course, these parents are affected badly because, actually, first of all, Adya, I would like to update you that now online classes from class 1 to 5, they've been totally, in some states, they've been totally banned. Like Karnataka is there, Maharashtra is there, MP is there. So online classes, they're no more being held at these three states. So that is the thing. And you know what? Actually, sitting with these students and making them grab the attention of the screen, it is a pretty hard task for their parents. Because these guys, they'll just say hi and then they'll run away. So parents have to actually, the parents have to actually give them something, give them chocolates, toys, and then they have to make them sit there. So it is a very pretty hard task and for the parents. And you won't believe, Adya, there are so many parents who are opting out of schools just for the sake because they are not able to cope up with this thing. Some of the parents, they are working from home also, and they are, managing this also, managing the students, their children also. 3 hours they are like with this student, with their children, and they are attending the classes and everything. So it is such a headache for them. 3 hours you are with the children attending their online classes as if, it is your classes. Your time is blocked for that time. For 3 hours you're entirely there. Then you are with your official work. So they have just left it, and they've, totally closed down this thing, and they've taken the student out of these colleges, schools. So this is what some of the parents have done. Others, because they feel education is pretty important, the child has to get this done, and they have to, avail such education to, for the growth of the child. This is important. All this needs to be done. So what they're doing on the weekends, they are doing the homework of the children. They're not only on the weekends, they're taking off a day, especially to do homework of their students. So if such a case is there, whose development is happening? The student's development is happening, or the parent's development is happening? Doesn't make sense at all, no? It is a headache on the parents actually. So I would just say for some time till the pandemic is there, something interactive, if these schools and colleges, if they adapt certain things wherein it is interactive session, wherein something is being taught, some vocational thing is being taught, some skills are being, something, making a video, all these things are given. So the student will get involved, so the child will get involved in all those things. So this has to be there. But yes, what you said, that it is a total burden on the parents. Yes, it is. It is a pretty big burden on the parents. The parents are the biggest. Like, it is not only, you will not believe, I know people, they are if father is working somewhere, the mother is giving time. If there are timings, meetings of the mother, the father is giving time. One parent has to be involved with the child in any case. So this is happening. And they especially, what they're doing, they have to set timings, what timings every person is using a laptop. Every person, the child is using a laptop at this time, another parent is using a laptop at another time, both the parents have different timings for the meeting. So such things are happening. And if you have 3 children, then it is a total ruckus, chaos in the house. So such things are happening. But yeah, we have to live with it. Everybody is saying this is the new normal, and that is it. Instead of not learning anything, the child will learn something. So, and you know what? They say, if you're at your place, your parents, you don't listen to your family. Still, you will listen to your teacher. So that is what it is. That, 1 hour, 3 hours, that person is at least waving their hand or doing something with their friends. They are seeing 4 of their friends. They're still learning something. They will learn something instead of learning nothing. So that is the main reason some parents still want to continue. So that, I'll sum it up like this.
Absolutely, Miss Monica, you're totally right. Like, whatever, I believe that these schools for online classes for students of kindergarten should not happen, because there's actually nothing to learn online. It's creating actually a lot of pressure on the parents, because they have to manage their time, they have to make the students sit in front of the screens, and they have to manage their work along with the studies of the child as well. So definitely yes. Moving forward to my next, I want to ask you, there are students for online classes. What the teachers are doing is, what the institutions are doing is, they are giving unnecessarily a huge amount of assignments and homework to the students, which means that the student sits for online classes for 4 to 5 hours, let's say 5 to 6 hours, and after those 5 to 6 hours, the entire day of that particular child is spent in doing the assignments and the homework assigned to them by the teacher. Creating a lot of stress, because even if you go to school for let's say 6 hours or 7 hours for offline classes, and you come back. But if
Yeah.
you're sitting at home, you're attending classes for 6 hours and then you can spend your entire day for the homework and assignments. So, like, what are your views on the same and how could teachers improve upon that?
See, homework thing, they can't, what they can do, they can give small case studies or they can give less of the homework. But the homework, cutting down on the homework, I don't think so. It is a very good idea. You have to give the homework to the student to do something. They are idle the entire day, they are idle. For 3 hours, if they take a class for 4 hours also, for 3 hours also, how are you going to judge their, how well they are able to understand the concepts? At least if you're giving the homework, they will go back and they'll open the books and they'll search for answers. So they have to give the homework. We can't run away from the homework. Homework is a very important part of the learning. And it is going to judge where the student stands. Okay, partially, like for the kindergarten and all, as I told you, it's already half of it is it's banned. But for the kindergarten, you can still, you can, say that they don't give them homework or you can spare them. But for the senior classes, homeworks become a mandatory. Give them projects for senior, like if you are in your PG, you are in your UG, projects and all these things, they become a part because their mind should keep working. They should analyze whatever has been there, reviews and all those reviews, case studies. They should do all these things. If nothing is there, ask them to analyze the articles that are coming, what the economies have, what is happening in the economy and all those things. But some homework has to be given. We can't go about it. We can't, ignore it. You can reduce the classes from 5 to 3 hours, but the homework has to be there. So you can't, they have to, bear with the schools. And a teacher can judge a student only by the homework, Adya. There's no other way to judge a student. And partially, if the entire homework the student can't do on her own, partially that person, the student will do, partially the parent will help, but somewhere the involvement would be there and the student will be accountable that, okay, I have to finish this off in this week or this day, this is the deadline. So they'll be, they'll keep themselves active, or else the entire day, all the children, what are children doing? Entire day, it's like Netflix. Nothing in PUBG or Netflix is happening. So, instead of all those things, some homework would keep them still accountable towards the school. And homeworks are pretty important. Any person, whosoever is watching, if they are a student, please don't ignore your homeworks. Why? I'll tell you, because there is internal assessment happening. Every homework, everything which your school is telling you, it is very, very important. Take your attendance important. Why? Because you don't know how long is this pandemic. Your teachers are going to judge you by your behavior, how serious you are towards the school. There is no other way of judging. If you are not doing your homework, you are not doing your internal assessments well, and if the homeworks are, if they are, marking you on your homeworks, then you are at a loser point. Everywhere, whichever class 12th you see, UG you see, PG you see, where are they going back? They are going retrospective effect. Everywhere they are taking marks of previous years internal assessment of this year, previous year's marks, class 12th. If you've seen CBSE and ISC, what they've done, they've taken those exams which they couldn't hold, they've taken internal marks. So please beware. Tell your friends also, be serious on this ground. Don't take that homeworks are like this only and this teacher is like this. All students are, nowadays, they don't respect the teachers also. All teachers are stupid for them. But that is the main point. That is the marking point. So please don't miss it. And it is going to, if you don't have your final exams also, like first semester and second semester, if they are not able to conduct offline classes also, online classes also, whatever homework you have, or whatever homework in which they are giving you marks, you will be judged according to that. So please be serious towards your teachers also. If you don't have a good impression on that teacher, you will not gain marks. It's all how well you are teaching, how well you are behaving with the teachers, how truthful and how, you are, how good impression you have on them. So please, if you have to, I would say in Hindi, agar makhan bhi thoda marna pade, maro. But at this time, काम अपना है. At this time, you require marks. There is no other way to prove yourselves. That is the thing. Okay, Adya?
Yeah. So absolutely, Miss Monica, that's rightly said, because teachers can judge the efficiency of the learning of the student by the homework that student does. So definitely homeworks are a vital part of studies and online education as well. But then definitely teachers should reduce upon the number of homeworks or assignments they give to their students, so that their students could get some time to relax and they don't spend their entire day studying.
Yeah,
So definitely.
of course. No, in some government colleges, what happens? Like they give you a homework, and what they're doing after 1 week, they're coming back to you. They're giving you time period of 1 week, and after 1 week, they're coming back to you and asking you for the homework on WhatsApp as PDFs. This is happening, and in case you're not able to understand certain things, then they are calling you to the schools also once a week, so that certain things, if you have issues on that, they could be solved. But this is happening in only those areas which are which are less COVID, those regions where the caseload of COVID is less. Not in those regions like Mumbai and all. Not happening in those areas.
Absolutely. So teachers are definitely taking a lot of efforts to make sure the students learn something. So moving forward to my next question, Ms. Monica, as you know that the results of class 12 students, the results of students who just finished their bachelors were delayed, right? So the results were supposed to come out in May, but they were delayed due to the exams due to the exams of certain subjects which were not conducted. And as you know, there were students who wanted to apply for foreign universities or colleges in India as well. But then the delay in this result affected their admission and their aspirations to apply for universities abroad. So what do you have to say on this? And do you really think, after all this pandemic and whatever is happening around the world, do you really think is it possible for students who are aspiring to go to abroad institutions and study? Is it still possible for them for the next 1 or 2 years to go out of the country and study?
Yeah, see the foreign plans, abroad plans, it has actually been totally shattered by this pandemic of many of the students. I can totally relate with you. But some things I feel they are blessing in disguise. Fine. Why I would say this? There is a certain sector, if you are going there, see, this happened when? This happened everything got delayed. And whenever maximum students, whoever go for foreign courses and all, international courses, whosoever is going, they are taking hefty loans from the government, right? From the banks, fine. So your bank, if you're taking such hefty loans from the banks to pay the fees, and if you see what is happening right now, I say whatever happened, it was all for good. Why? Because you are paying such hefty fees. You've taken some hefty loans to pay such fees. And what are you doing? You're sitting back in India and doing that course. Does it make sense in any ways? People who have already been, whosoever is in the first year, second year, who completed these years, who's in the third year, things are different for those people. But students who were in class 12 and who couldn't take admission, or students of third year, any graduate courses, third year or fourth, who were in their fourth semester, they couldn't take admission. It was a blessing for them. Because right now, if they would have gone also, what would have happened? They would have got those acceptance. There are acceptance letters which are given to the students, whoever qualifies for international studies, international courses. Okay? So, this is there. So, they were loans. They've been spared from big, hefty loans. And you look at the economy right now. Who has money right now? Nobody has money as of now. There are so many sectors which are closed down. If your parents would have taken loans, would they have been able to pay for the EMIs? In no way they would have been able to pay for the EMIs. Because so many people have been fired, and you see the economy, the GDP is going down, unemployment is increasing, right? So this is the case. So all these things, we have to, whatever happened, I feel it was for all for good. But yes, if somebody others, there are some students who had pretty big plans. Okay, I'm going to go there. I can understand. I can relate with them. It is pretty hard. But just look for the positive everywhere. Take up courses in India for the time being. Start off here, right? You don't know for how long the pandemic is. When you, in case, do a course here for 1 year, 2 year, whatever, according to whatever specialization you are into, whatever stream you are into, if you get a point, you can always go abroad. Who's stopping you to study abroad? For the time being, you can join here. But yeah, if some students, they are pretty, very adamant on joining international courses, all these colleges, they still have international programs in place. You can still take international programs, and I'll tell you, they are giving you big scholarships. They are giving you concession in fees. They are giving you concession, like there is one IELTS course which is taken. For English speaking, there's IELTS and TOEFL. You require IELTS and TOEFL scores in UK, US, India, there's UK, US, Australia, and Canada. In these 4 places, and you require IELTS score. So they are relaxing on those scores also. So they are open to open for allowing students, they can come up and they can study all these things. But I tell you what, if you are studying internationally and you're not going international, you are not meeting international students, you're not having that exposure, you are not having that industrial and that practical training of the international background, what is the sense of such studies? It is just like distance learning if it is happening at your place. Does it make sense in any way? You take a course in India and sit at home, and you take a course in US, UK and sit at home. What is the difference? I can understand that would be a little bit difference, but not much. Because again, I tell you, technological, for 4 hours, half an hour, 45 minutes, if you are having interaction, classes, at one point you will just give up, you will get irritated. And one more biggest thing out there right now, I'll tell you, there was one, you've taken a very good point. What happened in Canada, Ottawa is closed from 21st March. Borders are closed. Fine. Okay. Students of Canada, they have been protesting. You know why? Because all online classes are happening. Canada is not allowing them to come back to, Canada government is not allowing them to come back. And see, one more thing, the biggest thing, the students, what they're facing. If you are in countries where time zones are different, when we are at 10 o'clock we sleep, at 11 o'clock when half of your house is asleep, then you start your online learning for 4 hours. 11 o'clock you start and by 3 o'clock you're studying. They were protesting for all these things. All students who have this, who are studying in Canada, who've got these courses enrolled in Canada. So such things were happening. So if you've been spared, be thankful to God. Rest, time is, nothing is wrong and nothing, you never and ever, nothing happens wrong in the universe. If you can't get these 2 years, after that you can always learn. Right now, just take up some courses which are, less costly and which can, fit in your budget for the time being.
Definitely, Miss Monica, like that, you rightly explained all of it. Like, obviously, at a point of time when the entire economy is collapsing, people don't have enough money to spend, the businesses are not working properly. It's not sensible to spend so much on sending a child abroad. Like, a particular student can get an admission into any good university in India itself, and if anyone actually wishes to go abroad, then I don't think this is the right time, because looking at the safety measures and looking at the conditions of educational institutions, looking at the condition of governance in other countries, so I don't think it's pretty much safe to go outside and study for at least 1 year as of now, because as we all know, right, in USA as well, the Trump has announced that no Indian student and no foreign student will be allowed to take admissions at least till December.
You know what, Adya? Not only admissions. Not only admissions, you are not going to get a job also there. Mind that. It's not just admissions. If you get an admission also, they are not providing you a job. Already they are there's already shortfall of jobs there. So it doesn't, you get admission there, but you will have to, if you are fine coming back to India and working here, then you go and take the admissions. Because, and one more thing, you know, these guys are opening up in January 2021. India is the biggest, the Indian students are the biggest revenue earners for UK, US, Australia and Canada. I must tell you. So these, they are luring us to apply for their courses, be it online, be it offline. So these universities are also suffering equally as much as we are suffering. So that's
Absolutely. Absolutely. Plus, like the conditions which Donald Trump is imposing on USA, and it's like the way Indians are being treated there. Like if you go out of US, if any particular Indian is living in US right now, and if you want to come back to India, it won't be easy for you to get the visa back there. And your work, your studies, everything will suffer. So definitely, yes, it's not a good option to go out right now.
He is not very, he is himself not pretty sure about what policies he'll implement the very next day. One day he says H-1B visa is applicable. The another day he cancels it off. One day he's saying, like, a government and a government which is not pretty sure of its own policies, where do you want to get stuck? Go there and get stuck with them. They don't know. Once you go there, you never know when you'll be back unless the government wants it.
Absolutely.
So he's not, his mind is fluctuating, policies are fluctuating. So the American economy as of now, I would not suggest going there at all.
Absolutely, you are totally right. So moving forward to my next question, as you know, right, like when the final semester exams were announced, there were many students who were protesting against it. They were like, we don't have adequate means of technology to give our online exams, or it's like we are stuck somewhere, we have mental health issues. So it's like the entire world is going through a pandemic and we cannot afford to, or we cannot just manage to give our online exams as of now. Our books are there in our hostels, our books are there, we don't even have our books. And if some students have their books, they're going through mental conditions, like they're going through anxiety, there's a lot of tension and stress going on. And they protested a lot against this online examinations, like the best example would be Christ University, Bangalore. So what are your views on the same?
Online, they protested against online, or they protested against offline examination, last year semesters.
They protested against online examinations because students thought that, like, obviously the entire world is suffering through pandemic and everyone has a lot of tension and stress. So amid such tension and stress and pandemic, like exams and at all should not be conducted, be it offline or be it online.
See, whatever the students are protesting and all, that's fine. But your university is going according to what UGC is saying. All universities are governed by UGC. Fine. So first semester and second semester exams, they're not being held. But the last semester exams, final semester exams, they are, being held by the guidelines by the UGC, and they have to finish off before 30th of September, because they have to, your next semester has to start by, I think so, January or December. So they have to start off with these things. So, they are following, your university is following what the UGC is giving norms. And yes, the government should look into the matter that the students are affected, their psychological, they are affected, they have anxiety issues, and whatever is going on around, it is affecting the students. So this has to be looked by the government. But along with this, they are also looking after the next session. When should we end this session and when will the next session start? So such things are cropping up in the minds of the universities. And, nobody is sure till how long this pandemic is going to go on. When will this vaccine come? Nobody is sure. So they feel instead, and if they are, still, I would say, Christ, if they are conducting online exams, that is a much better option than offline exam, what they're doing. Because online exams still, you are protected at your place, you are giving. But yes, the mental condition of the students, this needs to, be taken into consideration before the implementation or before making any policy, before announcement of such exams. But whatever the university is doing, it's because of UGC. They are nowhere in between. They have to go according to the laws, what the UGC is saying. If any person is very and they have too much of anxiety issues or they are affected too much by the pandemic, it is their call and they can drop it. But the UGC is pretty adamant on conducting of exams in the entire nation. And I'm telling you, there's like hell lot of things that are happening, but they've gone till Supreme Court as well. But nobody is putting their foot down. All the universities, they are pretty strong and they will keep going that they will be conducting such things. They will conduct exams of the last year. Though they are missing the exams, they are taking internal evaluation of the first year and the second semester. First semester and second semester, everything is internal evaluation or your second semester marks. Last year marks and second semester internal evaluation, and in the first year it's your internal evaluation entirely. So such things are happening. But third year they are taking exam, either it is offline, online, or it is a blend of both of it. So it would be considered, it's better, the parents do something, parents help out such of the students. Vishal Bhatia. He's saying that no degree without examination. Correct. Today only it was in the newspaper in Times of India that there's no degree without examinations. They've said that they would not be giving awards without the examinations. Until unless these third year students don't give the exam, the final semester students don't give the exam, there is no university, there is no state government which is going to give them this award of the final year, the certificate of the entire degree. There's no degree, they're not giving that degree. And whatever, we have to follow it. Some people are against it and some are for. Some of them, very little of the population is in favor, but most of them, they are against it. But you can't totally, get about it. You can't cancel it totally. Though it is a very big issue, I must say. But still the Supreme Court and the UGC, nobody is hearing to the, issues of the students. It's trending in Twitter, everywhere it is there. Nobody is hearing. That is there.
Absolutely. So we have one more question from Vishal Bhatia. What
Yeah.
about degrees already in by colleges without exams?
What degrees have been given? Who's given the degree? Which colleges?
So basically there are few colleges, like there are few, you could say like government colleges or like small scale institutions which did not conduct the final year examinations and gave away the degrees to their students. So what I believe is it all depends upon the institutions. There are many institutions who believe
No, but
that
Adya,
obviously marks-
I don't buy this point, like which of the institutions, because they were UGC governed. They were UGC governed. If they were UGC governed, they have to follow the UGC. They can't give it like that.
Absolutely, because I don't think even I have read any such article.
I have to
where
go.
it
I will
was
get back to you,
written.
Vishal. If you want, I will get back to you on this. But I don't think so. They are pretty, because you have to put this across. There is a line. There is a set body. There are set bodies governing things. All the universities of India are governed by UGC. And if a UGC is giving some instructions, then they have to follow. They can't give a degree without the exams. It is not possible.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you, Mumbai government, West Bengal government, these people are after Supreme Court that please cancel the exams. The plight of the condition, the COVID situation is pretty bad in Mumbai, but they are not cancelling it. They are saying how to judge the knowledge of a student, and judging the knowledge of the student is only by the marks. So that is happening. So, I don't feel so, but still I'll get back to you, Vishal. If this is the case, I need to go through it. I have not, heard of it. Yeah. Hello, Adya, you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, Ms. Monica, I can hear you. So thank you so much, Mr. Vishal, and thank you so much, Ms. Monica, for answering this question. So moving forward to my next question,
Yeah,
as you
thank you,
know,
Vishal. Yeah.
Supreme Court has given out an order that JEE and NEET exams have to be conducted, and even the directors of IIT have said that it is extremely crucial to, conduct the JEE and NEET exams in the month of September. There are many students who are protesting against the same. So, what are your views on the same? Do you really think that JEE and NEET exams should be conducted like offline examinations amid the pandemic?
See, actually, Adya, there is no one single point on this, to be telling you frankly.
Okay.
What I feel, see, JEE, NEET and JEE, everybody, like half of India, half of the students, whosoever is into these entrance exams, they are actually, some of them, they want such exam to be conducted because they've been working pretty hard from past 2 years. There's parents money approximate, I'll tell you, for 1 year they're spending 3 lakh for the preparation. So a student who's been preparing for this, the student who's been preparing for this, the intermediate, sorry, Adya, I'll have to cut short this. Vishal, intermediate is second year and first year. Intermediate is second year. Decision to promote all intermediate semester is second year semester. And final year semester and final and terminal semester is one thing. Intermediate is second semester. Pursuing degree and post-graduation courses, including engineering and diploma for the academic year 19 without examinations due to prevailing COVID. Yeah, that's fine. That's second year actually. Intermediate is second year. There are UGC guidelines of April. So there are UGC guidelines, and the UGC guidelines, what they say is there are set difference in opinion how the exams have to be conducted for first years, second years, and third years. For the first year, your internal evaluation would be taken. So whosoever here is of the first year, please be informed. If you are having internal evaluation, internal assessments, internal projects, be serious. All internal things would be evaluated, and you're going to be marked on that. Second semester, what is happening? Or the second semester, or what Vishal says is the intermediate semester. It means that you will be evaluated 50% on the internal evaluation, what your projects the teachers are giving, what internally they are asking you within in case they have some internal assessments, quizzes, anything that's happening online, or anything between the class, if they are doing something, any interactive sessions, anything, internal evaluation they'll do, and 50% they will be taking the marks of the first semester. Fine? So this is the blend. So this is happening, and this is 50% of the second year is happening when you are in such a area where COVID is quite prevalent. Karnataka is suffering from COVID badly. That's why it is the call of the central, it is the call of that specific government to take whether to schedule exams of the second year or not according to the COVID situation. So the situation is pretty bad. That's why they've done this. Fine. And in case COVID is not prevalent in those areas where your university is, they will be conducting offline exams for the second semester as well, or for the intermediate semester as well. So these are the guidelines. Please go through the guidelines. If you're in a graduate, if you're graduate, undergraduate, please go through the guidelines of UGC. You have there are helplines also of UGC. They have, started up with the helplines. You please be aware of whatever's happening in the pandemic. Everything, because your rights and everything you should know as students. Yeah, where were we? Sorry to have cut your. Are you fine, Vishal? Yeah.
Yeah, that pretty much answered all the questions.
Yeah.
So we were discussing about JEE and NEET.
Yeah, so for JEE and NEET, I would say according to everybody is talking about this actually, JEE and NEET. What is happening? See, there are perspectives, different perspectives of people. So I would like, thank you, Vishal. Thank you so much. Thank you. So the thing is that according to some students, this is a primary concern and this is a concern everywhere, what I'm telling you. If you have, first of all, I would like to tell you, JEE and NEET are national exams. India has not fared well in state exams. There is UP B.Ed JEE. If anybody's heard, students have been infected by COVID because of UP B.Ed JEE. That happened on 9th of August in UP. There are many, if you've not seen it, there are many, there is a specific video that is going viral online, on Twitter, on that. So SOS was not followed. So somewhere or the other, they are missing on these grounds. The governments, they are missing somewhere or the other, they are missing on these grounds. So this is the prime concern. Some 4 days back, this NEET session, NEET or not, was on Arnav's show also. Arnav Goswami on this Republic TV also. So this is this topic of NEET or not. You guys can, Google it on YouTube. So you'll find that. So they were everywhere they are saying, all the students, whosoever are going, they are concerned, if at all they risk their health. Who is responsible? Is the state government responsible for their health? If little bit of infection also they catch, because they will take the papers, they will give the papers, for 3 hours they will be in enclosed centers, ventilation may be there, may not be there. Who is accountable for their health? So this is the prime concern of major students as well as their parents. This is the prime concern that revolves. And they are just waiting that as soon as they just want, if the vaccine comes in some time after 2-3 months, after the vaccine comes, then they should, take this up, take the exams up. So this is one viewpoint which is circulating everywhere, and it is a valid point because you never know from where you catch the infection. Okay, fine, you catch the infection, you are pretty young, you are 18 years old, you are 21 years old, you are 24 years old, whatever, you are in your teens, fine. You catch the infection and you go back home, and your parents, they are with you and they are some 60 plus and they have comorbidities. God forbid anything happens. Nothing will happen, but still, if it happens, the infection goes to them. So all these things, everybody has this thing in mind that how this has to be coped up. And if they don't provide you that much of distance there, you cannot go and say, no, I want this much distance there. And how much of protection are you going to carry once you will, of course, take off your mask, once something will go wrong? So you can't always be perfect for 3 hours. You can't sit and, with those everything, mask and head shields and all, and sit and do the exams. It is a pretty tough thing. So if students are saying that, of course they are right on that grounds. But some of the parents and some of the students, they are saying that, from 2 years they've been preparing for this. And they've been spending 3 lakhs every year for the preparations. So much of money is going, and they just want this should be done. And people are saying after some time, of course, if this exams, they don't want to cancel the exam, but they want to postpone it. So if they want to postpone it also, after how many months will they conduct it? After 2 months, 3 months, how many months? Or after 6 months? When will they conduct it? The condition, it's going to go worse than this. You are having 76,000 cases per day as of now. India is on the 3rd highest COVID country right now amongst all the nations. Maybe in the coming 2 months, you become the number 1 country. We are having 1,000 deaths per day. Maybe it grows exponentially. You never know what happens next. So, whosoever is giving these exams, please think all the things. And it is your call. Don't go for a protest. Try to see if they cancel it, that's fine. But there is no sense. You take your call. If you think it's not fine, just, ignore the exam. Because if you your life is of utmost important. If you get into that exam also and you become a COVID patient also, does it make sense in any way? It doesn't.
Absolutely.
You can drop 1 year. A 0 year is better than a lost life. Your life is more important. Yeah. So all these things.
Very rightly said.
But Adya, some of them are also saying that, the academic year is going to get affected. That's what they are saying.
Absolutely. So
That
like,
is-
there are many students who are concerned about their academic year. So I'm like, it all depends upon the individual choices whether they want to risk their lives and they are not willing to sacrifice 1 year of their academic life. So yeah, they can go ahead with the proper precautions and safety measures. But then again, it depends. Like obviously, everyone is concerned about their health. That is the reason students are not willing to resume with the offline classes as of now. Even the Karnataka government announced it to be open from 1st of October. But there are students who are not willing to go because, it's like even if you, obviously, we know that if we just go and there are like 15, at least 15 to 20 students in a class, obviously it would not be possible to maintain social distance to the extent we are expecting, right? There would be some social interaction at the point of time, and at that point of time there are chances of infection. So
Of
yeah,
course,
that's
Adya.
rightly said that exams should be postponed and the exams should never be given priority or the human lives or human health, definitely. So
No,
moving forward to my last question.
Yeah, tell me.
Were you saying something?
Yeah, I was saying the Orissa government is also, giving free transportation for this net exams, net and
Okay.
this JE exams. But it doesn't make sense. While you are traveling and you get infected by any ways, finally if you are infected, and then you infect the entire family, and then you see the repercussions. What happens? So, and how much is the count out there? 25 lakh students are going to appear. 25 lakh students, whooping count, yeah. And 1% also.
Fatality rates would be very high in such a situation.
Exactly. So we are already running on 76,000. And if every state contributes 1%, one student on that day, we are already 1 lakh per day then.
Absolutely.
So all these things are there.
Totally right. It's totally right. So let's see what happens, what students do. Does the authorities actually address the issues, the concerns of the students? So Ms. Monica, moving forward to my last question. As we know, the government announced a new education policy of 2020, which is planning to bring about a lot of changes in the education, like the structure of education across the country. So what are your views on new education policy 2020 and how do you think will it affect the students? So yeah.
See, actually, I have not gone too much in the education policy that's there, this 2020 policy. But what I'm seeing is I've not analyzed it too much. What I'm saying, what good I could see is actually all the students, first of all, earlier what happened, some of the students, they couldn't, take classes, junior classes, 1 to 5, they couldn't take because it was not in their, please have a dedicated session on new education policy. Yeah, we'll have it. Vishal, we'll have it. Yeah.
We'll be addressing all the questions related to this policy. It's just a short question.
Yeah, I'm already telling you in a very short and crisp manner. I'm not, telling you a very lengthy thing today. Already the session has been extended too much. I don't know how much time. I think so more than 1 hour I've been speaking. So we will take a session on this and many more things. Adya, we can get along and we can, discuss. All the viewers can, along with Vishal, others also, if you guys also have any questions, we can please post it here. We can discuss on them and please be interactive because, it's very important actually to take inputs and know what is happening and how it's going to affect the entire student, landscape, student ecosystem. You're getting affected by what's happening. It's just, I would say, Vishal, be very, very, what is happening around, how COVID for COVID, they're putting up everything, all rules, regulations in every area. So please all the students should be pretty vigilant on what's happening, what the governments are doing, where benefits you are getting, like the laptop one which I told you guys. So all these things, the government is doing lots for you people, lots and lots. So please open your eyes and keep your ears open and just check out what is there for you. And everything is at a very concessional rates and everything. And some things, so they are giving off free. Like, I've not spoken, Adya, but that PM e-Vidya thing that is there. Have you heard of it, which Nirmala Sitharaman has implemented? That's there. I would be speaking in the next session if anybody is interested in that.
Definitely, we'll have sessions covering all the topics. We'll have individual sessions in there.
Yeah, sure. So let us, call it a day, and I'll just wind up this by this new education policy and all, because it's gonna be very short and crisp, not much into things. So what I was saying, Adya, it's like the new education policy. What I find good in this is like it would not be constricted to. First of all, earlier children, they couldn't study the 1 to 5 classes because it was not in their regional languages. It was either in English or either in Hindi. So if there were some states where English and Hindi is not known to a person, then how do they study such, classes? So now such classes are coming in their regional languages. That is there. Moreover, when you go into senior classes, you do not have to opt for a certain stream. Like, if it is a science stream, it is to be PCM, PCB, physics, chemistry, bio, physics, chemistry, maths. All these things have to be there. Now it's like, along with science, you can take a totally different subject. You can take a totally different subject like arts or anything of your interest. Along with that, now vocational skills also you can take. So all these things are there. And Adya, you would like to say anything?
Yes, Ms. Monica, definitely whatever you said is right, because India is a diverse country where multiple languages prevail and no particular language like English or Hindi should be imposed upon the children. It's good that they are getting to study in their, what should I say, in their regional languages, and they're given enough freedom to choose the subject they like and learn what they want. So definitely new education policy would be bringing about a lot of changes. We'll be having a dedicated session on the same for sure.
Yeah, sure.
So, Ms. Monica, thank you so much for making your time, for making your presence here and enlightening our viewers with some of the very important facts and your opinions. It definitely must have helped a lot of students who are viewing our discussion, and it would have definitely given a lot of insights, knowledge to people who are viewing the discussion. So thank you so much, Ms. Monica, for making your presence. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Adya. Thank you, Vishal. Thank you, audience. Whosoever is there, I do not know. I can't see all of you. But thank you so much for being cooperative. And thank you for being there and, listening to, giving your important time to me and listening to all of whatever we said. We'll be back. Please post in your questions, whatever you have, queries and all. And I don't know, Adya, if there's a way they can reach you or they can reach me and, ask questions. I don't know.
On Leher, or you can follow her Instagram profile.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. Yeah.
So you can just tell our viewers about your Instagram profile.
Yeah, so I'm there on Instagram by the same ID. And if you liked any part of the video which you like to share, I think so, Adya, you'll be posting it. Would be posting it.
Definitely, I'll be reposting. The session will be posted on the app very soon.
Okay, so this session would be on the app, and if you like certain part of the video, please share it on other channels also, and you can always hashtag me by hashtag MonaYolo_17.
Definitely.
Adya, you there?
Thank you so
Some
much.
poor connections showing.
I'm there. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Have I lost the connection or what? What is it? The video is nowhere there. Yeah, Adya? Hello?
Yeah. Monica, your video is not visible. I guess there's technical glitch. Anyways,
Just a
we'll
minute,
end the
just a-
session. So thank
Just
you
a
so
minute.
much, Ms. Monica. Thank you, Mr. Vishal, for being so interactive with us. We'll definitely cover all your points in our upcoming session. So
Yeah, yeah.
so much.
Thank you so much, audience. Yeah. Thank you, Adya. Bye for now. Have a great day, guys.
Alright guys, so thank you so much for joining me here today. I have extremely special and talented Miss Monica Manthan. She is here today to talk to us about the impact of pandemic on the students and offline education. So hi Miss Monica, how are you?